I think sometimes that we're all little statues on the table of Zeus.
Skye, Ross, welcome. Do you remember the first thing you said to each other when you meet again and started talking about you coming back to Morcheeba?
Well, the first thing was, hello, what are you doing here? Because we sort of bumped into each other in the street in London. Ross lives out in Los Angeles, so I was really surprised to see him in London this day. So yeah, and then we just kind of talked about, I don't know, just saying hello and catching up and what you've been up to and stuff. And then it was, you know, a few weeks later that we got together, and Paul came over from France because he lives in France now, and we had a meal, and you know, we was just, you know, just talking about, you know, we was talking about, you know, like the past and shows, and just having a laugh and having a giggle, getting very drunk, you know, and then started talking about the possibility of doing some stuff together in the future.
Okay, so that's the very first conversation after, for how long didn't you have seen each other?
7 years.
7 years. Wasn't that kind of awkward, or did it felt natural?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was nerve-wracking at first to just, you know, we wasn't really sure how we would be, but you know, once we had a few drinks and felt relaxed, it was fine.
Yeah. And how was it for you?
It was nice. Yeah. I'd been speaking to Skye a little bit via the internet because she wants to move out to California and was asking me, you know, where a good place to look for a house would be, and so we've been talking, and you know, we still, throughout the time that we weren't working together, we shared the same manager, so we still knew what each other was up to, and we would listen to each other's records a bit, and you know, we were always just round the corner if we wanted to talk to each other. It wasn't like, you know, we'd completely been estranged, you know. So it was kind of inevitable at some point we were going to bump into each other, and it was very pleasant, you know, it was very nice. And I think it was good that it was an accident that we bumped into each other, because if you plan those kind of things, it makes you nervous. So if it just happens to you, it's kind of easier to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was meant to be, maybe.
Yeah. I think sometimes that we're all little statues on the table of Zeus's coffee table, like in Jason and the Argonauts, and he can move us around, and he says, oh, now, yes, I want them to hang out together.
And what kind of feeling did you eventually decide that you wanted to make music together again?
You don't really decide about music, it just happens. You know, we started to make some just basic riffs and chords, and I would send them to Skye and she would write melodies, and I'd send them to my brother, and the melodies would suggest words. And so after a while, music has a life of its own, and it tells you what it wants you to do. If you try and control music, it doesn't end up very good.
Yeah. How was that whole, because you all live in different places, how was that whole process of crafting a new record? Because I can imagine sometimes it seems a little bit difficult.
It wasn't difficult to write this album, and the distances between us, because we were in different places, was quite beneficial, because it meant that we had space and time to come up with our own ideas. But we would get together occasionally, you know, before we did the proper recordings. I went round to Skye's house, and we would just listen to the tracks and make sure that we were all happy with the way that they were going, and you know, and then I would go down to my brother's house, and we would edit and mix the record. So there was a bit of traveling between us, you know, but we spend so much time traveling and away from home that while we were recording an album, it's a real luxury to be able to do it, you know, while you are at home, and you have that kind of, you're in your comfort zone, and you feel not under any pressure, you know. You could get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and think, oh, I really fancy recording some guitar now, you know. And that's difficult if you're in a studio with engineers and things like that. you have to phone them up and get them out of bed. And, so it's a luxury for us, really.
Okay.
I think people are just really happy that we've reunited.
Because Skye, you left in 2003. Before this whole new cooperation of making new records could start, were there a lot of issues from the past that had to be overcome?
Yeah, I mean not a lot, because you know some issues just kind of fade with time, and then other things you know we spoke about via email, and you know we'll be able to sort of put it in the past and move forward. So you know.
What was the biggest issue that needed to be overcome?
You know what, I don't really think people care, to be honest. I think people are just really happy that we've reunited, and I don't think people really care about, oh, we don't want to know that. They're just happy that we're back together.
Okay, because what was for you the thing that you missed the most of being in Morcheeba?
What did I miss the most? I'd say Ross's guitar playing. I really like his. And I'm not just saying that. You know, and that's no sort of disrespect to the guitarists that I work with on my solo stuff. But you know, in the live side of things, it's just great to be back on stage and you know doing more Morcheeba shows.
Yeah, and for us, what did you miss about having Skye around?
I think the magic that happens when the three of us write music together and record is very special, and it's impossible to. I mean, you don't even know where it comes from, but it just is magical and it's undescribable. And so, I think that whatever that is that I can't describe, that's what I miss.
Okay, because you can't really describe it, but what kind of feeling is that magic? Can you describe that feeling, or is that also impossible?
It's difficult to describe, but it's just very easy. When we get together, it just kind of works, and it sounds really good. I really like the sound of Skye singing my brother Paul's lyrics as well, because there's a weird match. I think he really enjoys writing the lyrics for Skye, and I think Skye enjoys singing his lyrics. So there's this kind of this good kind of like embrace of different things, and it's nice to share responsibility in a band. You know, we all have done things on our own, which is kind of hard work. It's very rewarding, but it's kind of good to be in a team sometimes, and to give yourself your individuality away for a little while and just be part of a team. That it's kind of, it must be good for your soul. I don't know. I feel like it's a slightly spiritual experience.
Okay. Yeah, you were telling in the meantime, in the 7 years between that you kept following each other, what you were doing, what kind of music that you made. But what do you think about the records of each other that you didn't make together? What do you think of for example, of the records of Morcheeba that they recorded without you?
Well, I heard The Antidote, and I heard some of the songs. I like the songs you did with Thomas Dibdahl.
Yeah.
You know, they sent them to me, and the Judy Zook track. But I didn't really listen to the other ones, just because it was just a little bit weird for me. You know,
what
kind
was
of.
So weird
Well, it's like seeing your ex-husband with a new wife. That's kind of how it felt. So, you know, it was a little weird.
Okay, and how did it felt for you, listening to her work?
I thought it was really good. I particularly like. There's a few songs on the last album that Skye made, Keeping Secrets, that I think are brilliant, and I can't think about them because then I can't get them out of my head for the rest of the day. But, yeah, I love the reggae track "Believe" that you did with Daniel Lanois.
Yeah, I Believe it's called.
Yeah, I Believe. I think it's brilliant. It's really good, and you know, I personally was kind of. This sort of sounds condescending, but I was sort of proud in a weird way. It was like, you know, seeing your sister go off and do something and been really like, oh, excellent, that's great. I'm really pleased for her, because it's difficult to make a record. I mean, it's difficult to make a record as a band, and on your own it's really difficult. And the music business is a very challenging place at the moment. It's very, very hard for anybody to do anything. There isn't kind of like the structure that there used to be. So it's very much a kind of a lonely struggle to get something done and put it out there, and you really have to believe in yourself, and I think that Skye has, done amazing work, and I feel very happy about it.
Okay. So, little sister and ex-husband. Yeah.
Oh no, sister sleeping with her.
Yeah.
No, that's weird.
That's wrong.
That's wrong.
So, were there certain elements of her solo work that you thought of, like, hey, we can use this in a new Morcheeba record? Or
No, I didn't really think about it like that.
Okay.
I'm quite happy to be here right now.
In the meantime, you live in Los Angeles now, in Hollywood, to work on some music for movies as well. What kind of experiences did you learn there that has found its way to maybe this new record?
Living in Hollywood and doing some movie music was interesting in the sense that I wasn't really working for myself. I was working it was subservient to the picture, the movie, and that was an interesting experience because it meant that music played a different role. And we've always been very influenced by soundtracks, and I thought that it would be good to make a record as if it was a soundtrack to a movie that hadn't been made. And I also really liked the fact that you didn't have to do very much. It was very sparse, very empty, lots of space, and I thought it would be good to utilize that, with Morcheeba, and you don't have to fill all the space up with instruments and things. It's really nice just to have like a chord and then a beat and lots of space for the vocals to swim in and out. So yeah, the thing that I learned is less is more.
Okay. And Paul, writes the lyrics for this album. But you've written lyrics for yourself as well. But why didn't you want to use your lyrics, or didn't want to use Skye's lyrics in the music?
That's we've kind of got our sort of clear roles of what we do, even though sometimes it does overlap, and I offer sort of suggestions, and I could sort of say to Paul, give him kind of stories, and then he could take inspiration from that. But Paul's always written lyrics in Morcheeba, and they're good ones. It's and I'm happy to do the melody. I could just focus on that. It was kind of I'd just written my second solo record, and so it was actually quite nice to just focus on the melody and hand it over, and then like a gift have the lyrics kind of sent by email, and work on them that way.
Yeah, so it was basically the same workflow as you was used to.
But it felt different just because there was more communication this time round. We was able to discuss and talk about how the songs were going to be put together, and like I said, like I could talk about different stories and stuff like that. So
you were more involved this time then?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because for you, if you look back on the whole career of Morcheeba so far, are there certain parts in that career that you want to do maybe different, or that you think like, hey, this was not actually like I hoped that it would be?
I think if I could go back in time and change anything, I'd probably mess it up, because then I'm quite happy to be here right now. And if I changed anything, then I wouldn't be here right now. So I will play safe and stick with the cards that I've got. Okay. So with that in mind, I wouldn't change anything. Have you seen a film called Hot Tub Time Machine?
And that's a new movie. I've seen the trailer.
I feel a little bit like I'm a character in Hot Tub Time Machine.
Why is that?
Because they go back in time and they become themselves as teenagers again, but they can't do anything different than they did when they were teenagers, otherwise it will ruin their adult life. And that question is a bit like that.
Okay, yeah. Because in now we've looked to the past a little bit, but if you look to the future, in what way do you see still see possibilities to develop as a team, or in your music, or in other ways?
Again, music is an abstract thing, and it happens on its own almost. It's like it has its own life force. And so you can't plan to say, oh, we want to grow and to do this and to do that. It just happens naturally. The thing that we'd want to do is write some really, really good songs and record those songs and have people listen to those songs. It's all about the songs, really. That's just... And songs don't... You can't say, I want to write a song like that. It doesn't happen. It just comes to you in a magic way. They're like little gifts from God, if there was a God.
You don't believe in God?
I believe in the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely going to make another record together.
But that future, will it be with Skye involved as well, or is it possible that you will part ways again after this one?
I think that all of us will continue having outside projects from Morcheeba, but we'll all come back together and make a Morcheeba record when we feel like it's right. Because we've just finished this one, we're going to get through the tour and we're going to see how we feel. But yeah, we're definitely going to make another record together. It's just we have to reach the point that we have the thirst to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And the thirst, is that also present in you, or?
The thirst that I have now is to get out there and do shows, you know. So that's what I'm really looking forward to now. We've recorded the record. I think it's amazing, and so I want to get out there and sing those songs and sing the old Morcheeba songs as well. And then I would like to sort of do continue with my solo stuff, and like I said, Keeping Secrets was just out in last year October, so I just was did like a 6-week tour, which is nothing, so I would like to kind of spend some time on that as well. Okay. And then once I get the thirst to come back to do Morcheeba, then I'll do that also. I think it's possible to do both. Okay. And a friend of mine said, why can't it be like like Black Eyed Peas, for instance? will.i.am, he goes off, he does his solo thing, he's still part of the Black Eyed Peas, and so and one helps to feed the other. If one thing is successful, it kind of helps the other thing. So because in your absence of 7 years, did you notice a big change in the kind of audiences you play for now? There was less Morcheeba fans there and more Skye fans there. Okay. So which was interesting, because when I would sort of I was out in Singapore doing a show, and I obviously was playing songs from Mind How You Go and Keeping Secrets, and then I would play a Morcheeba song and get people to sing along, and I remember putting the mic down to a girl and she's like, I don't know the words. It's like, what do you mean you don't know Morcheeba? So that was kind of interesting, because I thought that I was always just playing to Morcheeba fans, but I made some Skye fans as well, so that's a good thing. They'll be coming along to the Morcheeba shows as well.
Yeah, so to double the audience for you as well.
Yes, yeah. Double Dutch. Yeah. We was talking about double Dutch earlier, okay. And what we call double Dutch and what you call double Dutch is completely different. Yeah.
Because Ross, I had one more question for you, because I've read on the internet that there were, when Daisy Martey, previous singer, left, that there were some issues about that she sued you for.
She didn't sue me, no.
Okay. So what happened back then?
She accused my brother of something that he didn't do, and it was, I don't know, it was very bizarre. I think she's, I don't know, just a horrid person. I think that she is.
Okay.
I don't really want to talk about that.
You regretted working with her?
I regretted meeting her, yeah.
Okay. Well, now you have Skye back again, so happy end, we can say, or now maybe happy continuation of the story.
Happy ever after.
Excellent.